Connor McDonald delivered food as his part-time job. One day, he had to deliver food to a hotel infamous for being a sex hotel. When the room door opened, he couldn't believe his eyes. His girlfriend was half naked, cuddling with a rich kid from their class. "Well, now that you've found out, I guess it's time that you know," the rich kid scoffed. "Your girlfriend is dating me now. Connor, give up on me, you're an orphan and have no money. Even if you deliver food for the rest of your life, there's no way you can compete with him. You are not good enough for me. Let's break up," his girlfriend said. Connor was utterly dumbfounded, wondering why God would inhibit poor people from being in a normal relationship. Just as he was wallowing in pain, his phone suddenly rang. He received an interesting text message.
"You have received $1 billion in your account."
"What the HL?" Connor exclaimed. "Who the heck just transferred $1 billion to me?" 7 Days Hotel, Port Hampton. Connor McDonald rode an electric bike to the 7 Days Hotel, colloquially known as the Lover's Haven, to deliver food. Today was the birthday of his girlfriend, Mandy Hines. After delivering the last order in the morning, he would go on a date with her. Filled with anticipation, Connor carried the takeaway and walked toward the 7 Days Hotel. Just then, a young man and a girl walked out of the elevator hand in hand. The guy was wearing an Armani shirt, a Rolex watch, and a BMW key fob hanging on his waist. The woman was dressed in a miniskirt that exposed her shapely white thighs. She was smitten and looked enticing. The two clung to each other and flirted with each other like they were a couple. "Mandy," Connor could not believe his eyes, and he hastily ran to them. Last night, Mandy had told him that she was going to the movies with her bestie and would not be back that night. Connor never expected that he would run into her at the 7 Days Hotel. She was startled. Her expression changed. She subconsciously wanted to break free from the guy when she heard Connor's voice, but the guy was holding her tightly.
"What are you afraid of? Do you still want to be with that broke guy? He was shorter than average. If it were not for his branded wear, he would have been inconspicuous, and no one would have spared a glance at him."
Mandy's eyes flickered for a moment. She was not as panicked as before, but instead, she looked callously indifferent. "Well, now that you've found out, I guess it's time to let you know, Connor," said the rich guy holding Mandy. "Your girlfriend is dating me now."
He was Connor's classmate, Brandon Guthrie. Unlike Connor, he was a rich kid.
Connor staggered back as his face was grave when he heard Brandon's words. Then, ignoring Brandon, he pulled Mandy over. "Come home with me, Mandy, I can make you happy." "Don't touch me," Mandy pushed Connor's hand away. "Why should I go with you? Can you afford to buy the phones and handbags that I like? You even need to wait until my birthday before we can watch a movie. What makes you think you can make me happy?" "Mandy, I may be broke now, but I will work harder," Connor gritted his teeth. "Work harder? You're an orphan with no money, power, or background. You can't achieve the level of wealth that Brandon has just by being a delivery guy," Mandy sneered. "Wake up, Connor. Mandy won't go with you. Do you want her to deliver food with you?" Brandon taunted him. "I have long wanted to tell you that you don't deserve me." "We are done, Connor," Mandy said in an icy voice. Then, she turned to look at Brandon with a fond smile and put her hands through his arm. "Let's go, Brandon. A broke guy like you don't deserve love, you know." Brandon shot a disdainful look at Connor as he brought Mandy toward a BMW parked outside the hotel. Connor looked on while his heart was aching as Mandy left. He felt angry, painful, indignant, yet helpless. "You humiliate me just because Brandon is rich." Connor lowered his head, and his hands clenched into fists. His fingernails sunk into his palms until his hands were bleeding.
Connor and Mandy met in college. They had become a couple during the first faculty fellowship. She was innocent back then, but now, she had betrayed him and chose Brandon.
Connor did not beg Mandy to stay or chase after her because he was broke. Who was he to compete with Brandon? He had seen through Mandy by now. Because he was broke, Mandy had repeatedly insulted him for the past 2 years. Nevertheless, Connor had never said a thing. All he could do was work harder and make money to support her. However, she cheated on him by hooking up with the rich kid.
You have humiliated me today. One day, I will make you realize that it is you who don't deserve me, Connor said to himself with a gleam in his eyes.
The cafeteria, Port Hampton University. Look on the bright side, Connor. Dominic Turner, Connor's roommate, said, I told you a long time ago that Mandy doesn't belong to our world. She is beautiful, hot, and flirty. I knew at first glance that she wasn't serious about relationships. As the saying goes, the goddess of the poor, the sperm vessel of the rich, a long-legged beautiful girl with ample bosom like her is a plaything of the rich. Plebs like us should stay clear of girls like her, otherwise, they will make us cuckolds, eventually. I suppose you have slept with her, right? You got nothing to lose. The thing is, I didn't, Connor said. What? You didn't? You two have been together for years, yet you didn't touch her? Didn't you two go to a hotel after a movie? Dominic jumped to his feet, looking distraught. We checked into a standard double bedroom, but nothing happened between us, Connor said. You can't be serious. What a loser you are. Connor thought for a moment and agreed with what he said. He genuinely loved Mandy and respected her, so he never forced her to do things that were against her will. Just that, alas, Connor looked at the orders on his phone. The only benefit of the breakup was that he could finally stop delivering food. Just then, his phone beeped with an incoming text message. Your account number ending 4466 is credited with $1 billion. Your account balance now is $1,056,000,000. Connor looked at the message and was wide-eyed. Holy moly, who deposited $1 billion into my account? Chapter 2, Stinky Hooligan. Something just came up. I have to go, Dominic. As soon as Connor saw the fund transfer notification on his phone, he ran out of the cafeteria without finishing his meal. Just then, his phone rang. He hurriedly took it out and answered. Hello. May I speak to Connor McDonald? A voice that might belong to a middle-aged man came through. It was deep, sonorous, and unhurried. This is Connor speaking, and you are. He was startled for a second. You are inheriting an estate. I was wondering when can we meet up, the voice said respectfully. An estate, so it was you who transferred the money to me. Yes, but the $1 billion is only a small part of the estate. Most of the remaining fixed assets and overseas funds need to go through the formal process before they can be transferred to you. Holy moly, $1 billion is only a small part of it, Connor exclaimed in his mind. But, I'm an orphan. Where did I get my inheritance from? We will talk about it when you come over. Find me on the 38th floor of the Empire World Building. I will explain everything, the voice said. Connor hesitated for a moment. Okay, I will see you in the afternoon. Okay, Mr. McDonald, the person hung up the phone politely. After leaving the campus, Connor returned to the rented place outside the campus. Because he was working as a delivery guy at night, the dormitory's gate had closed by the time he went off work at 1 a.m. Hence, he had no choice but to share a rented house with others. Connor's room was less than 10 square meters, but he felt that it was spacious enough. It was only 12 p.m., but Connor thought of going back to his rented place to take a nap and would only go to meet that person at the Empire World Building in the afternoon. His stomach growled as nature suddenly called. He hurriedly grabbed a roll of toilet paper and ran into the toilet. While he was doing his business, he played Candy Crush on his mobile phone. Just then, someone suddenly opened the bathroom door. A beautiful girl in a laced sleeping gown walked in, rubbing her eyes groggily and running her fingers through her hair in front of the mirror. She looked as if she was still half asleep. Connor was sitting on the toilet bowl right behind her, unaware that Connor was behind her. The girl put her hands to her waist and started to take off her clothes. She lifted her sexy laced sleeping gown, pulling it up little by little, revealing her sexy waistline and the seductive black strap. She had a hot body, a pretty face, long legs, dark wavy hair, and a very youthful vibe. Connor's eyes almost popped out of their sockets, and he forgot to make a sound. Halfway through with the undressing, the girl opened her eyes, looked in the mirror, and saw the wide-eyed Connor behind her. Coming to her senses, she grabbed the cosmetics on the side and hurled them at Connor. "Connor, you stinky hooligan," the girl screamed as she pushed the door open and scrambled out. Connor hurriedly pulled up his pants and ran out. Because he was in such a hurry, he accidentally bumped into the couch and groaned in pain. After catching his breath, Connor yelled at the room next door, "Are you crazy, Mina?" The beautiful girl was Mina, who shared an apartment with Connor. "I dare you to say that again?" Mina's angry voice came before her hot body appeared in the doorway. Her face darkened as she glared at Connor with knife-like eyes as if she was going to kill him. "Why did you break into the bathroom and hurled cosmetics at me?" Connor patted the cosmetic powder off his face, looking pissed. Was she entitled to bully him just because she was a girl? Mina stared at him angrily as she came up, wanting to give him a fair one. "You freaking pervert and stinky hooligan, it was you who hid in the toilet to peep at me, yet, you still have the nerve to accuse me with your chop logic." Connor flipped out upon hearing that. "I peeped at you, get your facts right, the bathroom is only this big, where would I hide?" Mina walked over angrily and was stunned when she heard that. She lost her mind when she was angry just now, but looking back, Connor really had no place to hide considering how small the bathroom was. Mina blushed and continued, "Then, why were you hiding in the bathroom?" "I was hiding in the bathroom." "Come on, it was you who broke into it, okay? Do you think that everyone is like you, hiding in the house every day without having to work or go to class?" "I'm not going to argue with you, I have something going on," Connor said sarcastically to Mina.
Chapter 3, I'm not here to deliver food. Connor was furious. Mina was the one who suddenly came in when he was doing business in the toilet.
Connor was an orphan who went to Porthampton to attend college. He rented a room outside while working as a food delivery guy during his free time to make ends meet to support himself and his girlfriend. Mina was already staying there when Connor moved in. Despite living under the same roof for half a year, there was little interaction between them. Connor usually delivered takeouts besides attending classes, while Mina shut herself in the house. No one knew what she was doing. When Connor was not working, he would wonder if his sexy housemate was someone's kept woman, as every time he saw her, she looked tired, a misunderstanding like today was the first time it had happened.
Having stayed here for so long, Connor also knew that Mina always slept late. Therefore, he did not lock the door when he went to the toilet. Little did he expect that Mina would get up so early today and come in without warning.
Taunted by Connor, Mina blinked for quite a while before she came to her senses. "Why didn't you lock the door? Do you think that the toilet is your private property?" Mina did not care about that. Connor almost saw her naked, and she would not let Connor off just like that. "Are you blind? The toilet lights were on, didn't you see that?" He would not be a gentleman to Mina since she could not be reasoned with. If it was not for Mina being a girl, he would have beaten her on the spot. Mina pointed at Connor furiously. "Are you even a man? How could you blame me when you didn't lock the door? I will never be done with you if you don't apologize to me today." "Oh yeah, do you really think of yourself as some sort of celebrity? I won't even spare a glance at your flat chest even if you beg me," Connor sneered, sweeping his eyes over Mina's breasts with disdain. Mina's face flushed. Honestly, Mina's breasts were not huge, but she was not breastless. I'm not going to argue with you, I have things to do. Connor looked at the time, it was already 1:30 p.m., he had no time for Mina. Immediately, he grabbed the key on the tabby and then hurried out the door. Come back here, Connor, you freaking pervert. Mina grabbed the cushion on the couch and hurled it at Connor, but Connor had disappeared out of the door in the blink of an eye. The security door was slammed shut with a loud bang before the cushion hit it. Holy moly, that girl is nasty, Connor sighed and went downstairs indignantly. After leaving his rental place, he rode his electric bike and headed toward the Empire World Building. Connor arrived downstairs at the Empire World Building at 2 p.m. The Empire World Building was 68 floors tall. It was a high-end commercial office building in Port Hampton, so the rents on each floor were exorbitantly high. The open-air parking lot of the Empire World Building was full of all kinds of luxurious cars. The personnel entering and exiting the Empire World Building were all dressed in suits and leather shoes. They all appeared to be successful people. Connor, on the other hand, was dressed in a dirty food delivery uniform and stood at the door like a beggar. Excuse me, sir, for food delivery purposes, please go to the fire escape passage on the side. The beautiful receptionist frowned and shouted at him when he walked into the building, her expression reeked of disdain. I'm not here to deliver food, Connor replied flatly. You aren't, then, what are you here for? The receptionist still sounded not too happy. I'm looking for someone, you're just a food delivery guy, who are you looking for? The receptionist glanced disdainfully at Connor. Connor did not know the name of the person who called him a liar, he just wanted to find out as soon as possible whether the inheritance was real, so, he ignored the receptionist and walked toward the elevator. Hey, stop, what is wrong with you? I just told you to use the fire escape. The receptionist ran after Connor, trying to stop him. Ding! Just then, the elevator doors suddenly opened. Seeing that the receptionist was running after him, Connor quickly slipped into the elevator. Ouch! There was a sudden burst of scream in the elevator. Connor entered the elevator in a hurry. Not noticing that there was someone inside, he collided with the person in the elevator. Are you blind? Didn't you see that I am inside here? The person in the elevator roared. Connor could not help but glance up at the woman in the elevator and froze in place. The woman was beautiful, in her early 20s, and was wearing a black professional suit that set off her nearly perfect hot body. Her long shapely legs were wrapped in a pair of black stockings. Overall, she looked pleasing to the eyes. Although there was a hint of anger on her pretty face, she was still sexy and charming. When Connor crashed into the woman, she was holding a cup of coffee in her hand, and the coffee was splattered on her chest. You freaking delivery guy, you are not supposed to be in this place. Security, get him out, the woman scolded in disgust when she saw Connor wearing a yellow food delivery uniform. I'm sorry, I was in a hurry, and I didn't notice you here. As Connor spoke, he took a tissue from his pocket and tried to wipe the coffee off the beautiful woman's clothes. When he reached his hand to the lapel of her suit, the woman screamed instinctively, "Ah, help," he